If you missed it, we just went from this to this. Make sure you check out the last 6 episodes and how we achieved this. Coming up, well, I have a confession to make. Trouble with the camera guy again.
I can't see if you shove the camera in my face. Stop it.
I get a surprise.
Oh yeah. You got plenty in there.
I fire back at the wife.
This position kind of invokes that problem.
You can pretty much turn it off after it fires up, unless carnage ensues. Well, I have a confession to make. Last week, there was a little weather window where I could get the car out after work just for a couple hours and I could test drive it. I couldn't take the cameras along. But in the process of doing that, I was lowering the car down, and over the corner of my eye, I spotted over in that right corner a crack on the lower A-arm. And sure enough, I went in there, had a look. This is what I saw. It was quite the crack. Now, I had a chance to take the car out and test drive it, so I knew I just would take it easy. So I did that. I took it out, didn't take the cameras along. So far, everything went well. So shifting was the main thing I wanted to take it out for, to make sure I could run it through all those gears with the gated shifter and just, make sure it was okay. And it was fine. So I ran it around the block real quick and came back and put it away because that was all the time I had. So with that, when I was talking to Blake, he had a little opportunity to do some welding on the car and fix that really quickly. So it all kind of worked out. Got Blake to kind of grind that area open, and it was quite the crack. So he ground it out and then TIG welded it up. Needed a couple of layers to it. And we're thinking about how we might want to reinforce this in the future. This side of the car, over on the driver's side, doesn't have the problem. I seem to remember hitting a big pothole, but I can't remember when. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. But anyways, at my nut and bolt check last year, I must have missed it, if it was in the previous year. So anyways, it just emphasizes when I do my maintenance at this time of the year is what I usually do. I got to do an oil change today. I got to check that bushing. And we got to check actually if everything we put in there running, the lights and everything work properly, the dimmer, all that kind of stuff. So I need to check all that as well. But anyways, we did weld up the bottom, check the top, and of course the top had some cracks just starting to show up from it as well. So we welded those up, and we're going to kind of keep an eye. This side, no problem at all, which leads me to believe probably was either hitting a bump, and I'm surprised it didn't bend or warp the rims because it's only on that side. But as I'm doing the nut and bolt check this year, I'm going to be checking a little more closely around the welding areas and for cracks in the car and anything else that signs and stuff like that, because it could have been catastrophic if that lower mount for the shock had broken. As I was driving, the shock would have gone into the ground, and the wheel would have gone whack up into the wheel well. So that would have been catastrophic and probably done a lot more damage, as if the shock had broken off or broken away and torn out through the back of the car. That wouldn't have been good. So that's what I'm up to. You may have already seen some of it because I probably already filmed some of it and done some of it by the time I did the intro here. So let's get on with it. I started by doing the inspection, nut and bolt check, and just checking the bushings and stuff around the car. Looks good. All right, first thing I noticed, I gotta tie these back up. They were just up here. And same with this stuff here. It's just pulled up a little bit, tied up together. So I gotta do that. And that was from when I was doing the shifter linkage. I wanted to be able to let these things kind of hang free. So you can notice there's a lot of oil. This transaxle does leak a little. So I'll have to put a little bit back in. So this is all purple here, just from transmission. I use royal purple in there. I know a bit of it's coming from the seal over here, because it is pretty wet right here. So a gearbox is a Griffin gearbox, and Dylan told me that these are the check to make sure it's full. So basically just take those off. If the oil comes out, she's good. Oh yeah, she's got plenty in there. Don't need to top it up this year. Maybe I've been topping up too much. Anyway, she's on a bit of an angle back, so that makes sense. So no need for more. I forgot just how bad it was to do spark plugs on this thing.
Oh. Is that on video?
Oh, it is too.
Great. Beware the excess gas.
It'll be a highlight of a video.
Will you shat your pants?
This position kind of invokes that problem. Ugh. There we go.
And
Lean it over the car. Specifically, I remember one being really tough. Number 7. Tucked up against the compressor, hose in the way. It is just awful to get at. I'm in trouble now. I needed small hands. She broke a nail. But we got it. Glad I did, because it was 13 years ago I put those last plugs in. On to making some labels to go over top of those buttons out on the dash, because they don't correspond to the proper event. Sorry, I did do Lambo funk. Yeah, we're gonna have to get real snuggly.
If the camera's there, I cannot see. Don't make me laugh. I can't see if you shove the camera in my face. Stop it.
I know the original has, more of a traditional door that they use right there in those locations, but I couldn't resist. I had to do something a little more relative. And these are quite different than what is on the original as well, but I needed something so I could differentiate what each one did. You can pretty much turn it off after it fires up. Unless carnage ensues and a fire starts and everything, then I might, yeah,
don't
just
call 911.
no, just
Videotape it to the burn.
yeah, we might, end up with trending. Here we go. Well, it sounds good. I didn't shoot a spark plug through the side of the block, at least not yet. RPMs are up. First thing I noticed is when I first turned it on, I saw the oil pressure go right to the top, which means I think I got the leads reversed on this. I'll have to fix that. Voltage is good. I got oil. That's water temp. That's down. I will be down right now, so that's fine. RPMs are up. Can't take it out on the road to check the speedometer. Let's see, I got my oil temp here. It's down low too. It should follow along with the water temperature. Fuel is saying half a tank. That makes sense to me. So I don't know if I can get the AC on. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. Might as well run it just to make sure it works too. Although I'll turn it off because you guys will probably hear nothing but noise. Oh, it is cold. Ooh, blowing on my knee over here. I'm gonna have to adjust my vent so it blows against that. I've got a cold knee. It does come out over here, just not as it does out in the vents. So nice thing is I can adjust these side vents so that it'll blow where I need it to. Have to check the oil level after I run it here for a little bit, just to make sure it's happy. The check engine light went out. Our lights all seem to be, indicators seem to be working. High beam stopped working, I noticed. I think the stock actually broke, the switch in the stock, so I'll have to change that out, but for another day. Let's put some lights on here. Alright, I'll hit the buttons in here. You guys tell me if the lights come on. Oop. And did this come on? No. Let's try our dimmer here. I don't see any change with the dimmer. So I think what that is either the dimmer doesn't work, which could be. I almost tested it and it had more resistance going up when I swept through it. So I assume that is the leads are switched. So I'll have to switch those around too, which isn't a biggie. The biggie's doing the switching the leads for the oil pressure. I got to take this back off. For the dimmer, I can do the reach around to get it. I think that's about it for in here. Everything else seems to be working. So I'm just gonna let her warm up for a bit, and then I gotta check that oil levels. I got 2 things to do, and I need to go for a test drive. I don't think I'll be able to take you guys along for a while, so I might have to cut this video right here. And maybe the next one we'll get around to test drive. At least I hope so. Fans just came on.